Welcome everyone, and thanks Amit for the introduction. In this session, we'll talk about how coronavirus outbreak is impacting supply chain and how business can recover from that in a speedy manner. Our focus will be sourcing and procurement areas today. Before giving our perspective, I would like to understand your perspective as well. So either you scan this QR code or go to menti.com and use the code 240744 to get a survey question and answer that. We'll get an aggregated view of audience's perspective in the current COVID situation. You may access this link over desktop, laptop, or mobile. I'll wait for your response in next 3 minutes. I hope you are able to scan the QR code from your mobile, or you go to menti.com and use the code 240744. Please give your response so that we understand your perspective for the supply chain in this COVID situation. What is your priorities? So still people are responding. This is good, large participation, and we can see expectedly the logistics movement challenge is getting more points, and this is a big challenge. And in my subsequent slides also I will emphasize. And next is raw materials, parts, and labor shortage. Good. I think we got quite trends. That what is the trend, what is the sentiment of audience quite well, and it resonates with our findings also in subsequent slides. Okay, so we'll stop this feedback system, and we'll go back to our slides. But I will definitely share this, outcome of this survey and share with you for better understanding that what is the audience perspective. And you are basically in the business, you are day-to-day basis handling this COVID situation. So this, practical feedback and realistic feedback will help you to also reprioritize your, activities. Thank you for that service. And we can easily see the logistics movement challenge is the most critical one, and then raw material, parts and labor shortage, and then there is finding alternative suppliers. That is the essence of today's session. So we'll highlight all those points. Surge price for alternate suppliers, that is another critical aspect. So I will touch upon all those aspects in my subsequent slides as well. Thank you. Our discussion will be divided into two parts. One will cover the first section, impact of COVID-19 on global supply chain, My colleague Shobhashachi Pal will talk about how SAP can help you specifically to find sources of different categories of spend and also carry out sourcing event remotely to choose right suppliers for your organization. Okay. First part, although we will talk about impact on business and supply chain, we all should remember COVID-19 is a humanitarian crisis first of all. Over 100 countries representing well over 2 billion people currently are in lockdown. The arrival of coronavirus created an unprecedented situation, not only impacting supply chain KPIs, but both people's lives and the foundation of our modern economies. There is a strong sentiment that it will change the baseline and there will be new normal. There is also a view that this crisis will be the end of global supply chains. Well, the view is subject to further investigation and analysis, and we'll touch upon some of the points in subsequent slides. Even before the onset of this pandemic, the global economy was going through turbulence on accounts of geopolitical tensions, trade disruptions, and decline in growth. The situation is aggravated by the demand, supply, and liquidity shocks that COVID-19 inflicted. China's manufacturing sector tumbled in February as many factories shut down in response to the coronavirus outbreak. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the manufacturing PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, a measure of factory activity, plummeted to a record low of 35.7 in February, indicating a deep contraction. Same is true for UK PMI figure. You can see that they experienced the longest supply lead times in 28 years. So supply lead time is impacting manufacturing, and manufacturing impacting in shortage of raw materials, and that is going down towards entire supply chain. These figures indicates an early sign of recession. China's Wuhan is a major industrial hub, as we know, and an integral part of global supply chain. In fact, in today's connected world, the loss of production with a small geographic area has potential to create a magnificent rippling effect if the product is critical for industries like textile, pharma, or CPG. There are 6 impacts or important aspects of today's supply chain and companies should be aware of. Firstly, importance of supply chain resilience and the agility. Importance of supply chain resilience is nothing new, but COVID-19 is great reminder for the same. Since the outbreak, we have witnessed a unique disruption like shortage of items due to hoarding or export control, production halts due to part shortage, and transportation slowdown. Supply chain for spare parts and consumables are disrupted heavily, impacting maintenance operations and ongoing projects. Companies need alternative sources, methods, and suppliers to diversify the supply base and reduce increasing cost. CPOs are reconsidering their single sourcing strategy over having multiple suppliers for the critical items. Supply chain risks, supplier risks evaluation, and keeping alternative arrangement is critical to be resilient to quickly return to the original state of business or move to a new and a better state. Non-resilient companies are at a risk of going out of business. Agility of supply chain is measured in terms of managing the rippling effect successfully. For an example, the vicious circle of workers at home diminishing demand further, or the effect of lower utilization of passenger aircraft driving prices of cargo transportation very high. Second aspect is shift towards localization or regionalization. For last 30 years, we have seen how supply chain embraces globalization by outsourcing manufacturing to countries with low-cost labor markets. At the same time, these companies kept the ownership of the design and the supply chain as IP. But after this virus outbreak, situation has been changed drastically, and business has become more risk averse and believes in greater protectionism. This leads to more localization or regionalization of supply chain, specifically for the essential categories. Organizations want to keep their operation in their own control, avoiding cross-border trades or too much dependencies on international market. The big question is, will it stop globalization or reform? Actually, we may shift into an era of design everywhere, produce everywhere. It will allow fast delivery of personalized products with a minimum or carbon footprint and local production. This is also pretty much resonates with Make in India initiative by Government of India. In other terms, this will lead to global supply chain which will function locally with less cross-border dependencies. Thirdly, recalibration of spend by consumers. Consumers are experiencing a new model of lower in-person and higher virtual connections, while forced to learn new skills, adopting new work culture and mindset. When consumer demand returns, it may be for different categories, and virtual service could be get adopted far faster than originally expected. People will reprioritize their need, categories of spend, and adopt a new buying behavior, which will definitely impact many industries like CPG, retail, automobile, fashion, travel, health, everywhere. For an example, demand for basic and hygiene product is rising, while more sophisticated items are left behind. Fourth aspect is renewed relationship among business partners. Crisis is bringing all close since everyone is impacted. Calling suppliers every day to check their status and the extensive contingency plan are some of the activities CPOs are doing to handle the situation. It is not just about work being done or materials got delivered. This crisis has brought a sense of unity and lot of empathy towards each other as a community. One of the most important areas is complying with contractual agreement. A lot of people do not focus on the force majeure clause when they are negotiating contracts. The ripple effects in a force majeure situation can be significant when it comes to supply chain. Because of the empathetic relationship among business partners, force majeure might become rather a renegotiation than the litigation. Some companies might allow for companies to shift from exclusive relationship towards alternative suppliers in the event of force majeure. People who don't have that provision in the contract will now probably have that provision in their contract. The renewed relationship will bring enhanced collaboration among business partners, a sense of trust, acceptance of digital technologies and network economy, and an urgency of works being done together with speed. Fifth is digital is really getting push for automation and collaboration. Work from home culture was at nascent stage in India earlier, but now it is a way of life. Companies are forced to reimagine work and how things can be accomplished digitally. This presents a real and immediate opportunity to drive efficiencies through digital, and it is a great reminder for the importance of digital technologies like cloud, Internet of Things, cybersecurity. So a buyer is sitting in her remote office. How does she maintain relationship with her subcontractors or service providers? How can she oversee the work that they are doing? People are realizing that technology can play a big role in those areas. In a touchless world, people are relying on digital technologies for greater automation, collaboration, and security. For example, IoT-based integration, network-based collaboration, and automation through machine learning, artificial intelligence, and also the cyber security using blockchain in smart contracting. Investment in digital is moving from being tactical and cost issue to a strategic one, that how we can run the business. customer will realize that they more digitize and their business, the more continuity they can ensure when facing future global crises. Digitalization and automation will ensure or enable customers to both the continuity and remain the competitive. Finally, cash is king and cost saving is the key driver. Companies overly leveraged are in danger. Reduced demand and immediate liquidity issues puts pressure on the CFOs. Understanding and managing cost transparency and simulation capabilities are great at doing good times, but become essential during difficult times like COVID-19. Suppliers are favoring cash payers and channelizing current stock to buyers who can pay immediately. The organization who are winners here will be the ones with cash. So the cash conversion cycle will be extremely important in the future. Quite expectedly, reducing overall business cost has become of paramount importance. One important aspect is how to lower fixed cost and convert it into variable cost. Business will only keep essential things in-house and rest will be outsourced, and it has vast implication on labor force, contract manufacturing, and supply chain considerations. How can we optimize our working capital among buyers and sellers is very relevant topic today and very critical to survive in short term. One aspect needs more emphasis is what is the fate of globalization. The transition in globalization is not a new topic, but COVID-19 will accelerate the transition further. In January 2019, McKinsey published a study on the same topic. They analyzed 23 industry value chains spanning 43 countries to understand how trade, production, and participation changed from 1995 to 2017. They have noticed few interesting trends. Firstly, goods producing value chains have become less trade intensive. Output and trade both continue to grow in absolute terms, but a small share of the goods is now traded across borders. Between 2007 and 2017, exports declined from 28.1 to 22.5% of gross output in goods producing value chains. Second is, cross-border services are growing more than 60% faster than trade in goods, and they generate far more economic value. Third trend is less than 20% of goods traded in based on the labor cost arbitrage. So the labor cost arbitrage advantage is getting diluted. And in many value chains, that share has been declining over the last decades. The fourth is global value chains are becoming more knowledge intensive and reliant on high skill labor. Across all value chains, we have seen investment in intangible assets like R&D, brand, and IP has more than doubled as a share of revenue from 5.5 to 13.1% since 2000. Finally, goods producing value chain, particularly automotive as well as computers and electronics, are becoming more regionally concentrated, especially with Asia and Europe. Companies are increasingly establishing production in proximity to the demand. This can be explained because of the three forces we have seen. One is the emerging market share of global consumption has increased by roughly 50% over the past decade. Developing countries like China, India are consuming more of what they produce and export less. Second is emerging economies are building more comprehensive domestic supply chain, reducing their reliance on imported intermediate inputs. It is a sign that these countries are reaching the next stage of economic development. Finally, global value chains are being reshaped by cross-border data flows and new technologies, including digital platforms, the Internet of Things, business network, and automation through AI, machine learning is getting adopted much more speed. Speed to market is becoming a key battleground, and many companies are localizing supply chain for better coordination. By keeping suppliers at arm's length, companies can benefit from more collaborative relationship with those that are core to their business. All the industries are affected directly or indirectly. Of course, first hit is B2C and B2G due to declining of consumer spend because of lockdown, social distancing. The nature of impact quite different from industry to industry. In one side, industries like travel and tourism, sports, retail are suffering from lack of demand and running below 10% of capacity. In other hand, healthcare pharma is struggling to manage the surge in demand for particular categories of spend services. On the other hand, government is not able to cope up with revenue shrinkage due to lack of tax collection and budget reallocation for economic stimulus, survival of poor people, locked down in home without any job. Quite expectedly, what was B2C phenomena gradually shifted to B2B industries like logistics, manufacturing, oil and gas, consumer product, and wholesale. Transportation industry is suffering from long lead time due to shortage of labor and multiple checkpoints, restriction, customs. Since other transportation modes are not available, demand for cargo aircraft is increased significantly. As mentioned earlier, manufacturing is disrupted heavily due to supply shortage and factory shutdown. Key input like yarn, chemicals, active ingredients still are suffering from heavy shortage due to too much dependency on material markets like China or South Korea. Existing inventory is drying up without alternative sources. Oil and gas industry scenario is quite interesting. The refineries are operating at lower capacities due to low demand and manpower shortage. But crude inventory is piling up due to oversupply of crude oil and natural gas due to price war between Russia and Saudi. This is driving the price down and down. Consumer products and wholesale is affected by massive demand shift across categories, and it is extremely difficult to define the new product mix, inventory, and procurement strategy. SAP has prepared a response to COVID-19 situation for each industries and how best companies can weather the challenges. These are some highlights of affected industries with recommended strategy going forward. We also summarized how SAP can help companies to execute those strategies using our solutions. There are many customers who are using SAP Intelligent Spend Management solutions and getting tangible and intangible benefits. We have mentioned few as well for the respective industries here. Some of the most important recommendations are establishing a mechanism to find alternative source quickly and in an agile manner, evaluate supplier risks and make a mitigation plan, and build a strong relationship with your suppliers through better collaboration. I would now hand over to my colleague Sabyasachi to elaborate this part more with use cases and examples. Amit, hand over to Sabyasachi.
I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, and you can see my screen also, right?
Yes.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining this session. So thanks Debashish for covering the supply chain impact, the impact on supply chain due to this COVID scenario. So in the next section, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss a little bit more on the procurement in focus, right? So we have seen in the previous few minutes of discussion that how this COVID has impacted the global supply chain and how the organizations are facing an unprecedented disruption in supply chain. So the next section will be focused on how procurement as a function is getting impacted because of this, and how the organizations can weather this impact with the help of a digital platform, right? Now, working through this scenario is really difficult. Now, working through this pandemic situation is really difficult, and it is enforcing all the organizations to rethink or re-strategize their priorities, right? Especially if we look at a specific few industries which are getting highly impacted because of this pandemics. For example, industries like consumer products, industries like retail or real estate, they are heavily impacted as the consumer demands has really gone down. And there are few industries like pharma, like healthcare, where we see there is a surge in the demand patterns, right? So, but even if these priorities in customers or priorities of procurement are changing, we can say one thing, that procurement as a function will always remain transparent and accountable no matter what happens in the situation, right? So the only way to guarantee this in such a complex and rapidly changing context, that if we can enable the organizations with an open platform which is based on structured data and efficient communication between the internal and the external stakeholders, right? So next few slides, we will focus on that how this situational uncertainty can be managed and how we can prevent the impact or minimize the impact with the help of our digital platform. Now, there are 4 key areas in procurement. If we look at the overall procurement of an organization, there are 4 key touch points or 4 key persona, we can say, which control the procurement. And the first part will be the customer, the end user. Now, the customer demand patterns are changing, as I mentioned, and it is more of an industry-specific event. So for some industry, the demand has really gone up. For some industry, the demand is really down. And this demand fluctuation is causing a lot of trouble or a lot of impact in the supply chain, especially on the procurement. So to mitigate this kind of a challenge, right, the supply chain function has to really be agile and has to have accurate planning and forecasting in place, right? Now, the second part or the second key persona would be the supplier, who is another internal external stakeholder. Now, if we look at the supplier side challenges, now there are multiple different challenges that the suppliers are facing. Number one, there's a challenge with material availability for the supplier. Second, the supplier have stopped operation in many cases, right? The suppliers are not getting any contingent workforce. The suppliers are not able to deliver, on time because of the logistics problem. As we saw in the initial questionnaire, in the initial survey, that most of you believe that logistics is the majorly impacted area due to this pandemic, right? Another challenge the suppliers are facing is the low cash flow. Now, all these have an ultimate impact on the delivery commitment by the suppliers, and it also causing the surge price from alternate suppliers. The third aspect would be the internal procurement organization, the sourcing organization, or the buying organization. Now, as I mentioned, that due to this demand fluctuation and the supplier commitment issue, which is essentially forcing the procurement organization to relook at the procurement process, how procurement is carried out in the organization, right? In terms of identifying the alternate supplier or redefining the category strategy. Now, identifying a supplier or defining the category strategy is one aspect. Another aspect of procurement or in the internal buying organization is how to execute, how accurately and how quickly we can execute those, right? And how we can ensure that contract enforcement and the contract tracking and the shipment tracking are being tracked properly. And the final aspect would be the finance. And in this procurement context, it would be the accounts payable team, right? So if we look at accounts payable, so the way invoice is managed, right, especially where hard copies are involved. Now, in this kind of a situation, as I mentioned, this is an unprecedented situation that the supply chain is facing, or all of us are facing, right? Even if we look at the currency notes we are using, we are trying to sanitize that. Now, imagine your business where you have hard copies coming from the external stakeholders, be it invoices, be it contracts. There would definitely be a more focus on digital invoicing or e-invoicing or e-signatures in place just to handle this situation, right? Now, these are some of the key areas which is in procurement which are getting impacted due to this pandemic situation. Now, these areas can be broadly divided into some strategic buckets. So we have divided it into 3 strategic buckets. The first bucket would be the source of supply disruption. So the source of supply disruption is something that we need to, as an procurement organization, we need to deal with in a short-term basis. And some of the examples of source of supply disruption would be the supplier commitment issues, finding alternate suppliers, redefining category strategy, and the order execution. Now, the second bucket would be the operational disruption. Now, operational disruption, we can say that the forecast or the demand planning collaboration where the advanced collaboration feature with the supplier is required, or enforcing the contract tracking or the shipment tracking. Now, this would be a priority in the medium-term basis. And then on a long-term basis, the business continuity, just to ensure that how we can make or how we can take sustainable measures in terms of enabling our suppliers to interact with us digitally, be it a signature, be it an invoice, or be it any contract. And also at the same time, as we mentioned, that cash is king, right? And it is important for the suppliers also to have cash, and that's where early payment discount options will be also gaining popularity in future. Now, to do all this, to handle all this impact on procurement, what do we need to do, right? That's where we as SAP has brought in this single platform strategy, where the end-to-end procurement, right, can be managed in a single platform. Now, what do we mean by end-to-end procurement? So it starts from strategic sourcing, it goes through the planning and forecasting, then ensuring that buying and delivering is happening properly, and finally the invoice and payment is happening to the supplier, right? Now, I'll just quickly spend some time on explaining each and every block before we proceed further. Strategic sourcing, we are saying that based on the shift in consumer priorities or customer priorities, how do we ensure that defining the right category strategy? So if we take an example, a few days back, I was speaking to one of the customers who are into consumer product industry. So the customer was telling us that among all the line items that they offer to their customers, right now the topmost priority is soap, hand wash, and hand sanitizer, right? And I believe this is not for a single industry in CPG. It is common across all the companies, all the organizations. This is a very common phenomenon, right? Now, how do we ensure that if soap is my highest priority to make soaps, then what are the chemical components? Who are the corresponding suppliers? How do I identify that source? So that is of utmost importance at this point. And as this pandemic is happening, as the situation is getting adverse day by day, it's not just identifying the source of supply is only issue. After I have identified the alternate source of supply, search price from the alternate sources is another issue. So how do I deal with that? Is there a way that I can negotiate efficiently with them? And then once we have negotiated the price, we have a contract in place. How do we enforce that contract compliance is also happening in my organization? Because cost and cash would be of utmost priority for any procurement organization, even more than ever at this point, right? So that would be your primary concerns or primary objectives of strategic sourcing. Now, planning and forecasting, as I mentioned, it will be more on a medium and long-term aspect, where I want to have an advanced collaboration feature with the vendors. That I want to highlight what my demand patterns, how fast the demand patterns is changing, and how fast the suppliers are updated about this change in forecast or change in plans. Okay, the third section would be buy and deliver. Right, as I mentioned, that execution is very important, right? Having policy and compliance in place is one thing, but ensuring that the purchase is based on the same is another challenge that many organizations will be facing at this point. So having a proper platform where they can efficiently order a product, ensure that the order is based on a contract and there is no contract leakage happening, and also receiving the goods and delivering the goods is happening properly, receiving or shipment tracking is happening properly through the single platform is also very critical. And the final aspect, or the last aspect, is the how efficiently if we can manage and process the invoices. Are we dealing with hard copy invoices, or are we able to enable our suppliers to give us a soft copy invoice? Are we able to enable our suppliers to provide soft copy e-signature through for the contracts, right? Where less of a paperwork, less of a manual work, more of a digital platform, right? And at this point of time, I believe the early payment discount would be another important aspect, because you would like to have, as a buying organization, we would like to have some additional discount, and the suppliers would also like to have some cash in hand. So early payment discount would be another key aspect. Now, while this single platform strategy gives you this end-to-end procurement to carry out in a single platform, it's also very important that I am also getting the holistic picture of my procurement. Do I have the proper analytics and intelligence in place so that I can take the proper decision at the right time? So on top of this, having a proper intelligence and analytics in terms of managing the central procurement function will be very critical. Now, for today's session, we are going to focus mainly on the digital sourcing aspect, right? How do we handle the source of supply disruption? Now, how we are helping our customers in this particular field of source of supply disruption is one way to identify the alternate sources. Now, how do we identify the alternate sources? Yeah, as we know that to ensure supplier continuity is a great challenge at in this pandemic situation, right? Because of redefining the category strategy, because we are changing the category strategy, our priorities are changing, and there's a surge in demand from the customers, and that is, if putting more pressure on ensuring a supply continuity, and that's where some platform where I can find the suppliers easily is very important. Now, Ariba Discovery is a platform that is offering both the buyers and suppliers to connect seamlessly. And there are millions of suppliers already, registered onto the platform. Now, if I am a buyer, what is my primary objective in this situation? My primary objective would be, how can I, in a simple way, how can I search for a supplier? How can I request for a quote? How can I evaluate the supplier very quickly? Right? And the time and cost are of utmost importance for me as a buyer. As a supplier, my primary concern would be, how can I respond to those buyers? How can I make my profile visible to a larger audience? And how can I get more and more leads so that I can build relationship with my buyers, I can grow my business? Now, this discovery platform is offering that opportunity, that equal opportunity to both the buyers and the suppliers. So the buyers can log into this platform, search for a particular category in a particular region, and see who are the suppliers. And it is free for the buyers. And for the suppliers can also log into this platform, see who are the buyers, and they can respond to the buyers also, and it's free of cost for the supplier as well. And due to this pandemic, and we have made this free of cost till for a couple of months, right? Now we will just spend a little bit of time on exploring this platform and giving you a little bit better look and feel that how this platform works and how this platform, the buyer and supplier can interact with each other in this platform, right? So in SAP Ariba Discovery, the buyers and suppliers can connect with each other, as I mentioned, and the buyers can create a free quotation and the suppliers can respond to that quotation for free, right? Simply, we need to type the category that we are looking for and the particular location where we are looking for this. And we can add additional categories if we want. Apart from surgical isolation suites, we can mention hand sanitizer, right? And we can mention also a preferred location, ship to location. And then a few more details in terms of creating the quotation, like when the response has to be expected, what would be the price range that I'm looking for, and if I'm going for a contract, what will be the contract length, and some additional attachments and descriptions. And it shows me that how many sellers are already available. So as we can see, for this particular scenario, we have 3,400 sellers already available over here. And we can submit this, the buyers can submit this, and the suppliers will be notified that there is a posting that has happened. The supplier similar way can log into this platform, look at the leads, they can even respond. Now as a buyer, once I have received the shared the posting, I can even check the suppliers who have responded. So for this particular posting, I can see that okay, I have 3 sellers who has responded so far. And even if I want to do a side-by-side comparison of prices, that which supplier is offering what price, I can do that in the platform also. It shows a side-by-side comparison of the prices from the different suppliers. I can go for a split award or the full award. So that's what Ariba Discovery is about. As I mentioned, I'll just quickly summarize. So as a buyer, it's free of cost to log into this platform and post any kind of an RFQ with the suppliers that what I am looking for in a particular category for a particular region. And then the suppliers can see the leads. The supplier can respond free of cost. We have made it free of cost for this. And the suppliers can respond to the posting. As a buyer, you can see the posting, you can identify the suppliers, and you can do a even side-by-side comparison also. So this would be finding out a way to find out the alternate suppliers through this discovery platform. Now finding alternate suppliers is one aspect of strategic sourcing. There are many other different aspects. For example, how do we ensure that different shortages, if it is a raw material, how do we ensure that we are getting the right quality of that, right? If there is a surge pricing from alternate suppliers, is there a way that I can negotiate with them in a better way? How do we ensure that the source to contract process is agile in this pandemic situation? So next few slides, I will spend a little bit more on how SAP is defining that what should be the strategic sourcing framework. Now, when we say the strategic sourcing framework, there are 6 steps approach that we take. So first step would be the leftmost circle that you can see in the screen, the category strategy defined. Now let me take that example of that CPG industry customer that I was talking about, who makes soap. The soap is the demand for soap is going high. Now this particular manufacturer needs to procure more and more chemicals for that, right? So that is the category strategy, which would be defined not just based on the purchase patterns or previous trends. Even in this situation, it will be defined by the customer demand. Now, once I have identified the category, the next step would be identifying the proper supplier in the particular region. So we just saw that example that how a supplier identification can be done, or how alternate suppliers can be figured out through Ariba Discovery platform. Once I have received the contact of 3 different suppliers, what next? The next step would be I would like to know more about this, especially in case of chemical. Are they proper chemicals? If there are any technical specification that we need to ensure. So those would be part of my supplier identification. Next step would be supplier selection, where I would like to get the quotation from the supplier, the first quotation. And based on this techno-commercial, I will select or I will shortlist the suppliers that I want to evaluate further. And then comes the negotiation part, which is basically an online negotiation platform where to identify the best price from the alternate suppliers, right? And finally, we award a PO or a contract. And the process should not end here, because the evaluation and the continuity plan for the suppliers is also very important. And that's where we need to ensure that through this digital sourcing platform, we are able to evaluate the suppliers. We can flow the survey and ensure that next 2 months also, there is no variance in his delivery. There is no variance in his quality as well. Now, while this 6-step strategic framework to sourcing, it's a comprehensive approach and it addresses all spend categories, we need to equally be very sure about all this information of sourcing and procurement is being correctly captured in the backend ERP system, because end of the day, that is going to be the single source of truth for each and every organization. So irrespective of the backend ERP that we are using today, all this information should be captured seamlessly in the ERP system. Okay. So I will quickly show you a few screens on this strategic sourcing framework. So we discussed the category approach. So category approach, it can be based on my previous purchase trend. It can be based on the commodity spent or the supplier trend, or in this pandemic situation, it would be more based on the demand, right? Or the change in, based on the change in priorities in the category strategy. Next part would be supplier identification, where I would like to know more about the supplier in terms of technical details, in terms of the quality standards. Supplier selection, where I want to get the quotation from the suppliers. At the same time, I want to evaluate the supplier based on different parameters. Once I have shortlisted a few suppliers based on the identification and selection, I will go for an online negotiation. And this online negotiation would be a transparent way to best or less from the alternate suppliers. And then, as I mentioned, that once I am awarding a purchase order, or when I'm awarding a contract, it's important that that award contract or purchase order is coming back to the ERP, right? Because that's my single source of truth. If it is a digital contract, it's very important to assure agile process of contract authoring, because multiple stakeholders are involved. And as Devashish, my colleague, mentioned, that this is an unprecedented time where working from home is getting more and more popularity. And in these changing times, how the way we conduct business is going to change, and that is going to have some impact the way we perform many of our procurement activities. So the collaboration with the internal and external stakeholders has to happen through a digital platform in this during this situation. And that's where agile process of contract authoring, the signature management, and the contract execution would be of utmost importance. And finally, the evaluation and continuity plan that we discussed, that how do we ensure that the going forward also the suppliers are available, or they will be able to commit to the delivery or the quality. So I will quickly summarize. So 5 key takeaways from the session that we have discussed. So in the first section, where Devashish discussed about the global impact of supply chain and how specific industries has been impacted, and how SAP is helping different industries in different ways. Then in the next section, we've discussed mainly 2 things. One, how procurement as a function is being impacted due to this COVID situation. And the second part, we discussed how digital sourcing or strategic sourcing as a platform can help organization run the end-to-end procurement, access the end-to-end procurement in a single platform, find the alternate source of supply very easily, manage the risk in terms of better compliance, and assess the suppliers, right? Faster time to execution, that how quickly we can do the sourcing, how quickly we can identify the supplier, because time is very important in this situation. How to identify the best price, because cost is of superior importance, cash is the king. And on an overall, how do we efficiently collaborate with all the stakeholders, both internally and externally? All right, with this, I will take a pause, and Amit, you can please start with the poll before we move on to the Q&A section.
Just to add, we have a 3 webinar series. So this is the first webinar we have done. So on 16th, we have another webinar in detail, Ariba discovery. And subsequently, we also have a webinar on contracts and DocuSign, that e-signature solution, in-depth webinar we are conducting. So if you have not got the invite, definitely we'll get in future, and please attend those webinars also to get a end-to-end sourcing to contract, and through e-signature, the completion or the compliance of the contract part, everything you can get a full visibility. So please attend those webinars as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Debashish. Over to you, Amit.
Thank you so much, Debashish and Sabyachi. So thank you so much for giving us this valuable information firstly. Now, before we move on to the Q&A session, I request our audience to answer a quick 2-question poll on your webinar experience. The poll question will appear on your screen. Please select the preferred answer and click on submit. A quick reminder to all our attendees, if you have any queries for our speakers, please enter the same in the questions window on your control panel. Your queries will be answered at the end of the poll session. Thank you all so much for your feedback. Now we move on to the Q&A session. So the first question for today's session is from Ganesh. How to integrate Ariba with our backend ERP? Debashish and Sabyasachi?
Sabyasachi, will you take the question? Otherwise, I can take it.
Sure. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, Debashish, I will give the answer and you can add on top of that. So thank you for asking, Ganesh. So SAP Ariba is an ERP agnostic solution, right? It can be integrated with any of the ERPs, be it SAP or non-SAP ERP. And we have also already integrated Ariba with many of the both SAP and non-SAP ERP customers. So we have customers who have both SAP ERP backend as well as non-SAP ERP backend.
Yes, so just to add, we are providing native integration between Ariba and SAP backend, S4 or ECC, through we have something called CIG layer. It is a middleware. So we are building a lot of native integration so that your effort in project is much more less, minimum. You will get a plug and play kind of integration.
Thank you so much, speakers. Now, the next question is from Rishabh.
With next, any question?
Yeah, so we've got a next question from Rishabh. How is the warehouse automation industry affected? E-commerce looks on a high now as people are at home and using online services, but how is it predicted for the future?
Yeah, this is very good question actually. That entire supply chain, we have lot of webinars for the entire transportation and logistics area. The focus of this session is primarily sourcing and procurement area, but your question is very valid. So what e-commerce is getting boosted up, but your entire logistics, even if you go for e-commerce, you are just placing a order and receiving it. Your entire transportation logistics warehousing part is intact. So going forward, definitely the e-commerce part will be boosted, but in the supply chain it will be reshaped, means how you will position different nodes and how you will design your supply chain, that and warehousing, how much you will keep it as a buffer at different nodes, that will be reconfigured, because the product mix will be changed, definitely the reprioritization of the categories, all those. And people are thinking about supply chain risks more, that if this supply chain doesn't work, have I alternative supply chain? For example, if road transportation is not working, whether we have alternative supply chain from the air, or air is not working, whether we have the relationship or the other logistics provider. So people are more and more thinking about the supply chain risks part and alternative arrangement. So that is, supply chain resilience part, what I was talking about, that is getting more importance, and going forward people will seriously look into that, which was very neglected area in India. I hope I answered your question to a
Thank you so much,
certain way.
Devashish. The next question is from Gurunathan. In this pandemic situation, the SAP Ariba Discovery Free Access is open to non-SAP customers as well.
Yes,
Yes. Go ahead.
this is available for anybody. So it is a publicly available. We have actually opened up this platform because of this COVID-19 situation. You understand people are struggling to get, good source, and really we need to basically do something for the society and business, because we are business application provider. So we are we are making it free till 30th June of 2020, and later on we'll evaluate the situation and then we'll take a decision.
Thank you, Devashish. The next question is from Shankar Narayanan. As a company buying a Ariba product, how can we assure that supplier backup is given sufficient for running the business? Will this vary from industry to industry?
So what I understand, you are talking about supplier base. One point is there are 4 million suppliers in the Ariba network. So there is a sufficient suppliers in India and outside India also. Also, you can onboard suppliers. You can register your suppliers in a very easy manner. The standard account of the suppliers is free of cost. So you can invite your supplier on the network and then transact. And on top of that, we also do a lot of supplier enablement service. So to register them, to train them, to make them understand how to use the supplier portal, we give lot of enablement services packaged in the offering. So one part is the supplier base part. Already it is a huge, people are there. Already suppliers are there for more than 4 million, 4.2 or 4.3, the latest figure. Then also you can onboard your own suppliers. Okay, and that is suppliers standard account is free of cost. So they don't need any to pay any fee for that collaboration platform. And third one is we provide a lot of enablement service to enable suppliers to come on board.
Thank you, Debashish. So the next question is from Abhay. How long does the implementation take for Ariba Discovery?
Ariba Discovery is free of charge. Okay, so it is a free platform. It doesn't actually, you don't have to do any training as such. Whoever is basically buyer of Ariba sourcing, they can go there and they can do the, find the source. Okay, as of now, it is free. This is free for the buyer part. It was not free for the supplier to respond. So now it is free for the suppliers to respond as well. But having said that, any Ariba sourcing customer, they can just go there and use the Ariba discovery. You don't need to implement. For Ariba sourcing, you need some kind of implementation specifically for the sourcing part, because you need to understand your process, everything that typically takes depends on your complexity. It takes from 3 weeks to 3 months. Correct, Shobhashwati, you can also add.
Right, Debashish. So just to add here, Ariba Discovery is a platform which is readily available. As of now, you can just simply log in to discovery.ariba.com and you can register yourself as a buyer or as a supplier, and you can start transacting or collaborating with the suppliers. So discovery.ariba.com, and it's completely free of cost. There is no installation. It's readily available.
Thank you so much, Sabyasachi and Debashish. So we are at the top of the hour at the moment. So probably we can take up one more question, and the remaining questions that we have received, we will take those questions up offline. Yes.
Sure.
All right. So the
Sure.
last and final question for today's session is from Sebastian Joy. Should all the suppliers be registered in Ariba to be visible under the database?
Yes, they needs to be basically registered into the system to uh, basically get in the search list. Okay, but the suppliers also can actually place their can look for the leads. So if I am a supplier, just a supplier, I can go to discovery.ariba.com and I can actually search whether there is any lead from any other customers. So that we can do. We can see the suppliers can see different leads for their own product categories and they can respond. Okay, but to get themselves in the search list where a customer will basically buyer will basically search, they need to be registered.
Thank you so much, Sabyasachi and Debashish, for giving us this valuable information and this deep insight into the SAP Ariba Discovery platform. I'd like to thank all of our attendees for taking their time out and participating in this webinar and making it an interactive session by asking all the questions, and also for the valuable feedback that we've received via the polls. Now, with your permission, Sabyasachi and Debashish, I'd like to close the session for today. Thank you everyone for being a part of this webinar. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Amit. Thanks everyone. Thank you for attending.